I said I'm speaking on Social Media Week, first of all, kicked off in Lagos this week. Now today, NOIPolls will be sharing some of its ideas on the use of polling data to support policy planning under the theme Connecting Africa Through Data on Social Media. Now for more ahead of this, I'm joined in the studio by the CEO, Oge Modi. It's really great to have you on the show with us. Let's get straight into it, because when you hear data, it's not something that is sort of, the norm in Africa. It's kind of a challenge in Africa to have credible data. So tell us the importance of polling and how businesses can use this to grow. Okay.
The importance of polling, which is opinion research, is that you can start to measure and evaluate consumer behavior, consumer patterns, trends and preferences, and all of that data can help you start to make informed decisions which are quite strategic to business building, to product development, service development, policy planning. And what NOIPolls presents is a platform where you can actually use data that has been scientifically proven to make those informed decisions. So polling is very important. It's a niche market. We're the only indigenous company doing it in the West African region, and one of the two in Africa. And so we're providing what we call like a database of opinions, public opinions of Nigerians and subsequently the West African region to help governments, to help businesses, and third sector companies make informed decisions.
But what does social media have to do with all this?
Okay.
What's the message that you're trying to pass across with that?
There's a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but there's some conversations that are going on in social media, conversations that have to do with governance, that have to do with policy planning, that have to do with products. So you have quite a number of businesses going on social media, banking businesses going on social media. Now what we want to provide is data that allows those conversations become really rich. Data that says, okay, so we're having a power problem in the southwest zone, these areas have an issue, this is what the poll has said about power in this issue. We're doing approval ratings for the president. His approval ratings were 40 in December, 61% in January. What happened? An anti-gay law was passed. Those sort of decisions. And you always then come back to NOIPolls, because those polls have been done. We did a poll on the anti-gay law bill when it was passed in May last year.
Those must be quite controversial.
Very controversial, yes. But then it's the information out there, so people can start to make informed conversations on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and that sort of thing. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to push and enrich those conversations as they happen.
And what sort of reaction have you had so far from this?
Well, you do have the reactions that are negative, you have the positive, and of course you have those that sit on the fence. But it's exciting that people are getting into this conversation. Some are questioning the data, some are saying, fantastic, this is a rich data set of information, we need this sort of information to be able to enrich our conversations and have very good debates and not just speaking in generic terms.
I think some people might say that, you have about 12,000 people that you go to, to carry out your survey. Some might say that that's a very small number. We're 160 million plus Nigerians. Do you plan to expand the number of surveys?
Well, we poll internationally. You poll 1,000. That's a sample size with a margin, an error of margin of about 3% and 95% confidence. Our technical partners are Gallup. They're the leaders in polling in the world. And over 6 years since we've been a polling organization, we have adopted the methodology and adapted it to the local country, that's Nigeria. So we poll in 5 languages. But what's more important is that we poll 1,000 every week. That gives it, in terms of the indices that we do, or 1,000 every month in terms of the topical polls. It is enough, because we would say that if you go to a doctor and you wanted a doctor to find out what's wrong with you, it's a random sample he would take from your blood rather than the entire blood. So yes, we're 160 million Nigerians, but we don't have to poll 160 to find out what the issues are. 1,000 is the standard polling number.
Let's talk about some of the surveys that you've done, some of the polls you've done. There's a personal well-being index of Nigeria, 41.6%. So Nigerians are not very happy with their well-being.
They're neutral. They're neutral. The NOIPolls personal well-being.
Why did you decide to do that?
Because we need to start to measure consumer behavior. We talk about the rational behavior of a consumer. There are a lot of choices in front of them, and they make those choices based on different factors. One of those factors can be essentially the way they feel at the moment that they're making that decision, or the mind share of that brand of the consumer. So we were doing this to be able to provide indicators on how the economy is, on how the consumer behavior can be measured, and again on how policy can impact the life of the populace.
But I mean, the aim of this is to catch the attention of public policy makers. So are you getting that kind of attention?
Well, it's to catch the attention of everyone, even the global community. And we did catch the attention because now we were invited to join the international community of well-being researchers. It's technically to provide a standard or a measure that everyone, whether they are academics, the policy planners, they're in government or business, can measure consumer behavior, you know, what impact the policies have. When he's making a choice of what to buy, what are the things that affect his choices? And that's why actually we're the first in Africa, really, indigenous, doing the personal well-being index. And
now you also have a business confidence index.
Yes.
I believe that's coming out in March.
In March, it's every quarter.
What can we expect to see? Give us your assessment of the business environment in Nigeria.
Okay, we've been doing that for 5 years, the business confidence survey, but we're turning it into an index come March. And typically, most business leaders, it's called the Eagle 30, so we talk to 30 C-level executives across Nigeria, 30 top companies. They feel, you know, of course, that there could be better infrastructure. So we talk about power, we talk about roads, again, you know, they talked about ports, and, you know, the different things that can be sort of addressed to ensure that the business environment becomes better. We also ask questions about whether they are going to employ people or not in the 3 months to see. Some typically talk about not employing because, again, everyone is just trying to manage the way business is being run with the environment that they look at.